Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Agnelina and today I'm here with my 11th knitting podcast episode. It's the last one of 2023. Holidays are approaching, Christmas is approaching, so I will talk a little bit about my Christmas knitting plans, how I handle gift knitting, etc. A bit yeah. I am Lakian, currently living in Norway. I live together with my fiancé and we have two lovely chinchillas. I'm a software engineer. And let's start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing winter wave sweater designed by Nadine, Joerg, Fauvel. And actually it looks on me, of course, as on everyone it could look different, but I also done a lot of modifications. First of all, I bought this yarn, and I think this is the only two leftovers. In her design, you should have held 3 strands of yarn, I think 2 strands of mohair, lace weight, and 1 strand of fingering weight. But I had, I think on the last Black Friday haul, I bought these yarns, they are 50% discounted. And I heard that cheap mohair can be scratchy, so I bought this was Dale's yarn, and I had more trust in their yarn that they were with good quality. Kidsilk? I don't remember the exact name. I will link the patterns, yarns I'm using, colors in the description. I also will link my Ravelry. I'm trying to keep in Ravelry all the information I need. And I will weight this sweater and add and add yardages to it. So future me would also know how much yarn I'm used on which sweater, so if I want to knit something similar, I would have reference points. But yeah, she requires 3 strands of yarn. I was knitting just with 2. Design is for 16 stitches in 10 centimeters. I get a gauge with 5mm needles. I was knitting with 4mm needles, and my gauge was 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. So of course, my sizing, I know stitch counts on the sizes are different. I also added body shaping for myself. I don't like really baggy clothes. I knitted sleeves as long as I wanted, and then just done the cuff, so they are also maybe imperfect in any case. But yeah, I adored this design and I wanted to knit it for more than a year, and this is my first sweater knitting with mohair too, holding 2 strands together. I think it's my first sweater holding 2 strands together also, and yeah, I quite like it. As I said, I listened to other podcasters that I know hobbies Diablo mohair is really scratchy or whatever, so I was trying to avoid those really cheap ones and bought one with 50% discount for first time to try it out, and I quite like it. And I understand why people are saying that it is really warm, because when I was knitting and sometimes putting even on my knees, the sweater was so warm, so nice, even it feels airy. Air is a really good keeper of warmth, and yeah, I feel like this is warm and it is at least soft enough. And some people saying that alpaca can be scratchy on them, but yeah, these 2 yarns are working perfectly in my opinion, and I'm really happy with it. That also inspires me in the future, maybe also use those 2 yarns in different colors to knit something. Yeah, the only thing that I'm a little bit shedding, and my my vision of wearing the sweater, black pants, white sweater, is a little bit, will require some upkeeping by, rolling those sticky things through my pants to collect all this fluff, but I'm really enjoying it. Before moving forward with my other finished objects and work in progress, which are accessories, and for me, I don't know, I don't think that accessories are as exciting or as nice to work on, and I really like to think and plan garments, and then sometimes with leftover yarn, sometimes of course I buy yarn to knit those accessories, but then more think about accessories from yarn leftovers and not buy yarn for accessories and don't plan them as much, maybe. But I'm trying to find a way, what I'm knitting, what I'm liking, to make sure that it, it fits, that it finished object is something I would love to wear. And I heard about this free word method, to describe your style. And one of the helpiest, one of the helpful tips was free questions, how to find your free words. And one was practical, looking practical in your wardrobe, what you're wearing or whatever. So I chose the word comfort, because I know for myself that I cannot wear stuff which is not comfortable for me. I cannot, torture myself for, the style, fashion, beauty, whatever, for the beauty. I cannot. I'm the comfy person. I had this sweater, for example. I had really similar one I bought from H&M. I know 5 years ago, or I bought it before I started knitting, and I really liked the sweater. I liked how it looked like. It had even it was from H&M, but it had some wool, so it was a bit warmer than just polyester, a nicer sweater, but it was a bit too short. So every time I was wearing, I was pulling it down, pulling it down, pulling it down. So even this sweater could look for someone, maybe it's too long, but for me, I think I have quite a long torso, so even some high-waisted pants sometimes don't hit me on the high-waisted part, and I have hip tip, so I think sometimes my pants are a little more likely to slide down if they're not even on the highest point. And I really hate if the gap in between sweaters and pants, so at least 40 centimeters, or I think 40 centimeters from usually sleeve separation till the end is my perfect length, or at least length, which is I'm trying to. So I know myself, I cannot wear what is uncomfortable. For example, high heels. I love how they look on people. I like watching them. I like imagining myself sometimes wearing them, but I cannot wear them, for better me or worse, because then I feel miserable. I feel like I look miserable, then I think miserable, and it's just not worth it for me. All my clothing has to be comfortable. Then another word was your aspirational, can be. So for mine is that I like classy and a black and white. I remember when I was a teenager and I thought if I have unlimited amount to buy money to buy clothes, but I was spending my money on books and hobbies, so I didn't have budget for clothes that much, or didn't bought that many clothes. I was thinking that if I would spend money on clothing, I would probably just black and white, just black short skirt, white blouse, and it would look so nice and so cool. I don't care about fashion. So I feel like all these classy clothing, they inspire me most, and sometimes I like those vintagey, 50s, 60s style, flowy skirts, a nice blouse, and they inspire me. I know those wear aesthetics sometimes inspire me, like dark academia. I remember it was also like, wow, beautiful, inspiring me, and cottagecore, I think I also like. I like dresses, I like running in the fields or whatever. So those fields inspire me, but what I'm looking, I don't know, in my clothing and in my style, where I want to go, I want to have pieces which last long. And when you're making your clothes and you're taking, I think this sweater I started on September 17 and I finished in December 7th. Of course I was knitting a lot of things in between, so, but for me it's sweater. If I'm concentrating just on it, it takes for a month or 4 to 6 weeks to knit a sweater. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I'm using good materials. It's really good to think that what should last, and I know that I'm not into fashion trends, whatever, so having something classy which can last long should be really fun. And I think white and black, what can be more classy than black and white? So yeah, when I decided this is my first time wearing this sweater, but I was really trying to finish it before my office Christmas party, so I want to wear this white sweater. I don't have Christmas sweater. I really want to maybe knit red cabled one in the future, or green I think also would be nice for especially Christmas time, but also all around the year. But for now I decided to, you know, black and white and a little more I don't know, joyful earrings. I have like a little garlands, green garlands, but they have a little sound inside of them, so I decided that it would be too annoying for me to film them and to wear them too often. So today I chose joyful earrings, but a little bit fun but joyful in the classiest way. Classy look, at least for me. And the last word I think is emotional. For me, I think the really word that best describes it, I think it would be flattering, but I know that nowadays this word is really hated in a way because it was used, I don't know, 10 years ago to try to look as slim as possible, etc. But for me, I'm unsure another synonyms for it, but something that I know that I look good in. So something that it's not about, you know, slimming myself or whatever, you know. I have to accept whatever I am. I am a bit thicker than, I know, my parents idealistic, and they were my biggest bullies, had that I weighed too much and still suggest me not to eat chocolate. That's another topic. But in a way I have to accept myself as I am, you know. I'm normal sized woman, and you know, women are not just size S, you know, or I don't know, XXL, you know, they are also like me in the middle sometimes, and all of us are worthy, and the only thing I think sometimes we need just to trust ourselves and our body, and just dress, you know, what makes me comfortable, what makes me feel beautiful, what makes me feel nice. And for me, I quite hate baggy clothes because I feel like, you know, I like to exaggerate my waist, and by checking one girl inspired me, maybe I will link her video. She inspired me to look, I think she titled her video or thumbnail was, if proportions is something about math, if proportions is beauty, then fashion is math, or something like that. And she went in that video trying to figure it out, her body type, what looks good on her, what she likes, what she doesn't like, you know, and to feel forward making clothes which fit her and her body, you know, and the clothing she looks best in it. And sometimes it was even, you know, the skirt and sleeve length for dresses also made her, you know, more proportional or not, and she felt. And by making her own clothes for many years, she noticed that sometimes she was not wearing clothes, and then she, you know, go through this theory herself, and then she said, yeah, I guess if, you know, sleeves are, you know, appropriate for that, you know, skirt length, then the dress would be perfect for her and she would wear it more. So it's not about that you're doing something incorrectly or whatever, just notice things that you feel good in it, that you feel like you look good in it, and then, you know, just follow those leads. So one of the things she done is she maybe picked her in 3 typing, body typing categories, and created a long list, you know, what is suggested for those body types, and, you know, merge all information into one, you know, what she wants to follow, you know, like as her leads, you know, it's not true and only, I know, things that you can wear or whatever. So for me, of those shapes, body types, I think I'm hourglass, because my waist is around 20 centimeters smaller than my bust measurement, and my hips and shoulder width I think is around the same, but I have a hip tip, so I think it's my bottom is a bit smaller overall, and then adding those hip tip. So I think that, for example, one of those suggestions for hourglass shape, you know, that don't add puffy sleeves, and yeah, my mom always told me, but sometimes if I want, I will add puffy sleeves to my clothing. Nobody will stop me. But I feel like, and don't add a lot of extra bulkiness around your hips or around your, you know, shoulders. And I feel like my shoulders are quite strong for a woman. Not too strong, but if I try to exaggerate even more, they can be really strong, I know, stronger looking, whatever. So I feel like, and I always liked, you know, and one of their suggestions is that you have to show that you have a waist, and don't, you know, add too much puffiness on the shoulders, don't add too much puffiness around the hips. Yeah, and I feel like even in my knitting, when I'm knitting, I really don't like them too baggy when I feel shapeless, because I don't feel good. Not because I should more flattering look or whatever, but I don't feel good in those styles. I never liked wearing, for example, I noticed that I never choose to knit, or even or in older, I know, days when I was still buying sweaters, I never bought a sweater with drop shoulder because I don't feel like it suits me, and I have one jumper. Yeah, I also don't like jumpers that much. So this is again, I think, going towards more in a classy style, which I like. But I once, you know, for the house, you know, bought a jumper and just drop shoulder, and I noticed that it is not my favorite fit. And this is even I sometimes thinking that would be so interesting to try at least once to knit a drop shoulder construction. But I don't want it for me. I like raglans more like this raglan. I like those more like, in a way, sit-in or saddle shoulders, where, you know, you start doing increases around here and then increase for the sleeve, you know, just it can be like continuous or whatever. I done it for my summer top, which I sort of designed myself, just following those things. So I know what I like, I know what I dislike, and just I try to follow this lead, you know, not sometimes try just for the try. And with color scheme, there is also, I think I am warm autumn or whatever, I forgot how they are, or deep autumn, I think, color scheme. I think the easiest way for me was to find my season was just three things. Was my skin tone is quite warm, I'm way more caramel looking than my boyfriend. My boyfriend is really cool toned, and I feel like, yeah, cool tones, especially blues. I love blues so much, but I don't feel that they suit me as much. And I think for my season is also like pastel colors are almost no-no, and even sometimes I really love them. But I have to admit that there was rare occasions in my life where pastel colors looked good on me. I felt like it. So, you know, just, you know, noticing things and taking notice. Not that I cannot wear. If I want, I will knit, I will wear it, or I will make it. But I feel like I look better, and in the future, I think that, you know, taking those guidelines to creating clothes that I would love. So yeah, I think that, yes, darker colors, you know, rich, like, I don't know, even red. I love red. I think I watched one video that red should fit on everyone, because it is like in that middle zone there, everyone should fit, but some people fit more, you know, bluish red better, and others warmer red, so I guess I would be warmer red, but I love red color. But yeah, I think those darker colors look better on me. I also, so the skin tone, I think, is my warm, my color, hair color, I think, is warm, and my eyes are light. But how it was with dark, light, because my skin, I think, light, eyes are light. I don't remember exactly how it was, but I think it was warm. I don't remember what eyes was. So, because eyes are not that warm or cool toned. Yeah, I think the contrast, and yes, for the contrast, that I have high contrast because my eyes and skin are light and hair is dark, that I'm warm because at least two of those are warm. So I think, yeah, so this was like dark autumn or whatever, so rich colors, and I feel like it's true. And yeah, so this is why when I was buying white yarn for my white sweater, I chose natural white, not icy white, because I have a feeling that icy white might not look as good on me as this warmer white, even if this, I think, alpaca yarn, I was surprised how yellow it was, because I quite more hoped that it will be white with the tint of, you know, yellowish, but this was a bit more yellowish than I was expecting. This was what I was expecting this one also to be. But I don't know, I will watch the video too. I will decide, is it also looks, as good as I expected, or maybe I will be hoping that, oh no, this white would be better. So yeah, this is, icy white, and this is warmer white. But yeah, I'm taking those, I don't know, style thoughts into consideration when I'm planning what to knit for myself, when I'm buying yarn, when, I don't know, yeah, like a future guidelines, what to knit. So let's move on to my finished objects, which are these. So let's start by talking about the scarf I knitted for my fiancé, my boyfriend. I think by Norwegian law we are already partners, because you need to live 2 years together. Yeah, we are not rushing a wedding. But yeah, this is scarf I knitted to him. I knitted from the same yarn Drops Big Merino. I knitted him a sweater in spring. And he liked the sweater, likes the color, and I have 2.5, maybe 2 and a bit balls left of this yarn. So I decided to knit him a scarf, and it's just not 2 and a bit balls of yarn scarf. So I cast it on, I decided to try on brioche knitting. It was my first time knitting brioche. I started correctly from the second time. But it was quite easy. Now I want to knit myself a sweater in brioche, because I feel like it's really fluffy, it's really nice, and these these columns looks really beautifully, because I quite dislike when those the rib opens up and it's not as nice as this one and this one, and it looks really beautifully, and it wasn't difficult for me. I don't know, some people say that brioche is so complicated, and so yeah, I knitted a long time before I tried brioche, but when I tried it, maybe since I have enough experience and it is not as, a mind, I don't know, maybe because I knitted enough and I can see stitches well and I can understand what is happening, it was not difficult. And maybe some people start knitting brioche before they fully understand stitches, and it is now more complicated to understand what is happening when you're not used to seeing stitches. I don't know. But for me, after 2 years of garment, more intense knitting, brioche wasn't a problem. So if everyone watches this and they are afraid of it, just try it. It's not as complicated as sometimes it could look like. But yeah, just scarf, it was no increases, no decreases. You just start knit, and I decided to do in the end like 3 stitches I-cord when you knit immediately, and I think I cast it on maybe 52 stitches or whatever, because my boyfriend wanted that fold in half would be like neck width. So yeah, so the width was just casting on whatever stitches, and I was knitting, was trying to knit it around 1, yes, and since I had 2 balls of yarn left and a bit, I knitted those first 2, and then I measured how much, and I think it was around 15 or 16 stitches, not stitches, around, 1 ball was just enough for this length. So I calculated that if I went around 150, 160 centimeters length scarf, because my boyfriend didn't want it really long, he wanted, just, simple scarf, he just, throw around and knit it, so I calculated that. And it is superwash yarn, so I knew that it will grow, but I decided, okay, 150, 160, it will grow, whatever. And my measurement was, so it would take 2, I think, times, and he could tie it out. Wait, was it? Or at least once and tie it out. And then this scarf after washing grew quite a lot. And I don't think that it is a bad idea or bad thing that it grew, because I knew it's superwash, it will grow, and I knitted just for barely enough. I think maybe to do like this, but now he can even do 1 more swoop. And it's really warm winter scarf, and in Norway we need it. So he is quite happy about this one. And 10 balls of yarn of knitting. It is, I think, even more than knitting done with same needle size from this yarn than I was knitting his sweater. So Scarves can take a lot of yarn too. So yeah, I think I started from concentrating on this one because he lost his scarf and winter was coming. So I was trying to finish this before huge cold came, because it was for weeks, was more than -10 Celsius degrees. So now it is around 0, I think. Yesterday was still -10. Today I think the temperature is rising up a bit. It's really winter wonderland here. Quite cold, quite nice. Yeah, and having this free stitches I-cord edge, I used it to hide all the yarn connections, all these ends, because I never, and yeah, my boyfriend done something, I have to I have to fix it, this one later on, because he was wearing for a month now, I think. But yeah, so for me it was, because it is double-sided, in a way, you know, you can wear it on one side or another side, and I really hate when you can see those threads, and even you try to hide it, but you know, moving it around, it still leaves a sign. So when I decided to hide in those free, you know, on the I-cord, those ends, I was quite happy how invisible all the 10 balls of yarn connections are in this scarf. But yeah, now as I said, I quite into idea of knitting myself a brioche sweater, because I really like how the rib pattern looks into it, how nicely defined those stitches are. It's so beautiful. And the downside was knit a scarf nowadays wasn't that bad, because I really like knitting, watching TV shows. You don't need to I know, you don't need to check, you know, how length, you know, you should still go or don't go. No, it's not, you know, changing, no increasing, no decreasing. And I really like watching shows, and nowadays I watch Korean TV shows. So I read all the translations, because I don't know Korean. So I just read translations and I can knit. And this one was one of the easiest things to do. So it was not dragging. The only thing what was dragging is the grey color, because I got bored with grey and I don't want to knit anything grey in the future, at least for some time. And then going back to hats, of course I had more grey projects, so it was this hat. And this was my Christmas knitting in a way plans. So when I start my Christmas, not when I started, but I was knitting, I knitted 3 grey hats this year, and I am finishing up the second blue hat. The idea was, when I first bought yarn for this hat, it is Viking Garn Reflex yarn, so it has reflex thread in both of these. I'm unsure if it is seen or not seen on camera, how it is catching up. I think on the blue it's more visible, so this is why I bought grey, so you wouldn't even see reflex unless it is, you know, in the correct lighting in outside in winter time. It is really dark here, so be visible around the cars. I know, nice hat with reflex thread. I thought it's really like genius way to make yourself safe, you know, have something more to save you. It is warm. So this is why I bought this yarn, and then I decided that I don't like grey color as much. I think I was expecting it to be even lighter grey, because as you can see inside yarn is Viking Garn Bamboo, so I think 50% bamboo, 50% cotton. I have really, did I? Is it perfectly clean? I am unsure, because I didn't wash, but I was sometimes knitting next to where I'm eating, or I was eating next to my knits, so it could splash something on it. But yeah, so it is almost a burrow type hat. I will show you the knitting in progress. So where you knit a tube or tube hat. What I changed, I didn't like those crowns, so I made increases looking more, I call it like sun motif. It's just different how you increase in the beginning differently, and then you knit a tube and then you finish it off. I think I'm almost ready to knit a crown, maybe a few lines left. But yeah, this is musselburgh type hat, and so I knit from 2 balls as long as they last of those Viking Garn Reflex, and then, you know, bamboo yarn as long as it goes. So at least my head gets annoyed by woolen hats, or was getting annoyed by woolen hats quite a lot. I'm unsure if I'm really sensitive or not, you know, can my head take it, a lot of it or not. But I didn't knit it myself. I had actually the plan was that one of these hats will be mine, but then I decided that I don't like grey, that this is boring. So I decided to do it as gift knitting, Christmas gift knitting. And the idea was the first hat would go to my fiancé, the second hat would be mine, and third hat for my brother, but then I changed plans, so 2 grey hats are going to my father and stepfather, and blue hats, because I asked my brother what color he wants. I decided, you know, that parents have to be grateful for what you are giving them. And, you know, for brother, you know, he will be 18 this year. You know, teenagers have more, you know, stronger opinions what they want to dress up. So I asked what color he wants, and I decided to show him that how much I love him and that I accept his girlfriend. I decided to give him and his girlfriend matching hats. And she likes to go on the ski trips with her family, so maybe they also go on a ski trip, and I think it's also good to be visible while skiing, you know, while wearing in the city. They are young, maybe not driving as much cars and walking more. And she lives in the suburbs, or her parents live in the suburbs, so maybe more walking where, I know, light situation is not as good, street light. So I think it will be good to be visible, and they can be matching, and it's, I think, cozy Christmas romance. So yeah. Now, you know, it was my Christmas gift knitting these hats. Yes, and I think I started knitting because the recommended needle size was 3.5 millimeters, but then I switched. I think all of these hats now are to 4 millimeter needles, because I felt like maybe it's brim could be a little bit maybe longer and maybe a bit looser. But yeah, where I was going also saying that I'm gifting this hat, I knew that when I started knitting that I was buying online this yarn, and I don't know how scratchy this wool is. Maybe, you know, reflex thread also, you know, can be maybe scratchy, so my plan was always, you know, to add cotton bamboo layer to make it nice to attach to the head. And this is why I also done the purl row, you know, switching, so it would be fold easier on this, and that was maybe more safe for, you know, this woolen side slipping and touching the heads, because my brother is allergic to wool, to lanolin. I think he's allergic, and my mom is too, so they cannot wear actually, you know, wool to touch their skin. So this should be, you know, like nice workaround for someone who cannot wear, you know, scratchy or wool at all to their head. So just having, you know, nice layer to the touch. So yeah, when I was knitting this hat, you know, this gray, I think this yarn has a nice color variation. As gray goes, this was beautiful gray, but it was too gray for me to love it. But I quite like this inner layer. I quite liked this bamboo. I know, I feel like this is feels almost shiny gray, but when I'm working this, it feels matte and shiny at the same time. I don't know, I love this yarn, and I would like to buy for summertime to knit a top in this Vikings bamboo yarn. I think it will be nice and soft and blue, and I have small balls of those left, so if I would knit I could yeah, but I think I try, it's just few grams, just few meters. You cannot knit a top, even colorful top with changing colors. But yeah, I'm so into this hat design, like I know my ultimate Christmas gift knitting. that I started maybe thinking maybe I should knit a few more hats for the next year for other people in my life. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm just, yeah, maybe nobody will like them actually wear. My boyfriend quite likes it. Yeah, he already wears his hat. Yeah. What else? So talking about plans for Christmas and gifted knitting, when I finished the scarf, I think, and I finished one of the hats, I noticed that hat took me around 2 weeks, and I think it was left maybe 7 weeks before I leave for Christmas to Lithuania to see my family and friends, so it would be nice to have everything washed and blocked, you know, and ready to wear or gift. And I was, for that, those 7 weeks, I had to knit 3 hats and finish the sweater. The sweater didn't have this collar or sleeves. And I was calculating that if the last hat took me to knit 2 weeks, then I guess 6 weeks will be for hats and 1 week will be to rushing out to finish the sweater. But yeah, actually I can knit quicker, I guess, or I was pushing myself. I stopped, yeah, I decided that my main focus will be try to finish those things in time, and if I cannot, I cannot, it's okay. Last year I was knitting one half sweater top I was knitting, and I wasn't able to finish, so it is the first finished object of this year, but I was really pushing in the last week, I remember, and was looking, you know, can I do or cannot, and yeah, it was impossible with given time and my knitting speed and still having going to work. It was impossible. So yeah, this year I gave myself, you know, enough time. I started worrying about finishing up things in November. So I felt when December came, I noticed that I was able to knit it maybe in 10 days one hand, 10 days another hand. You know, I was then finished one sleeve, and I still have, you know, for my plan still a month, what I was planning for maybe less time to do. And now, as I said, this is the only thing what is on my needles right now, and what I need to finish before Christmas. At least the plan is to finish. I think I can finish it today. But now I'm trying to also spend time on some things I was postponing and seeing that I don't have time. For example, one of the things I really wanted to do was to sew a new dress, but since I knew that it will be a short sleeve dress and I don't need right now a short sleeve dress, I should concentrating on finishing things I really want to finish before Christmas. And since I was able to do it, maybe not to jump immediately to other projects, maybe not jump immediately to other projects to knit and finish all those things I was ignoring, postponing, like, you know, filming maybe some videos, editing. I really want to also film what I done in 2023, everything I knitted, includes things I have sewn for myself. I think that those are really fun videos to do and watch. I really was waiting for the season. I'm quite excited to see everyone else's makes of 2023 yearly. I was thus in those video, or first time I saw something similar was, I know, a few years before I started making my own clothing, and it was I think a Rosary Apparel video what she had sewn for the year, and I was looking to that, watching that video, just, oh my goodness, she is so amazing. She creates her own clothes and she does all those things, and now I can also film this video, so no, I feel quite excited and happy about it. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I see you next time. Bye!